Good afternoon. Now we are going to start a new chapter, magnetic effects of current. It is a part of the third unit, moving charges and magnetism. So in this unit we have two chapters. The first one is magnetic effect of current. Second one is magnetism and Earth's magnetism. Okay. So this year most of the part of magnetism has been deleted in reduced syllabus. So basically we have a major portion from magnetic effect of current. Okay. So the chapter name is magnetic effect of current. Of course, this is chapter 4. So, chapter 4. You had a little introduction about this chapter in your class 10th. You have studied about magnetic field produced by a straight wire, straight current carrying wire, magnetic field produced by a circular coil. Okay. And there you are not having any quantitative approach, only qualitative approach only is given to you. So what will happen to the magnetic field if you increase the current, and what will happen to the magnetic field if you increase number of turns in a coil like this. That is called qualitative idea. Now in 12th class you are going to derive expressions for magnetic field due to an infinitely long wire when a current I passes in it, and a magnetic field due to a circular current carrying coil using different laws, Ampere circuital law and Biot-Savart's law. Okay, so the story of magnetic effect of current begins with Oersted. It was actually the observation of Oersted through his experiment that whenever he is switching on an electrical circuit, a compass very close to the circuit is found to be deflected. Normally, any compass will be showing geographic north and geographic south when it is not acted upon by any other magnetic field. It will deflect from geographic north and geographic south only when it is affected by a magnetic field in its vicinity. So Einstein thought of what is the cause for this magnetic needle to deflect from its original position of north and south to some random position. Repeatedly he switched on, switched off the circuit, and he found that whenever there is on and off, there is a deflection in the galvanometer back and forth. So therefore he thought that here is the source for the magnetic field produced other than the Earth's magnetic field. Had it been only Earth's magnetic field, the compass or the magnetic needle should have been always pointed along north and south directions. So now it is deflected and coming to the random orientation. It is because of some other extra magnetic field produced in the lab. So he thought that the circuit is responsible for that, rather the current flowing in the wires are responsible to produce the magnetic field. So by that he named this as magnetic effect of current. That means whenever an electric current passes through a conductor, a magnetic field is produced around it. This is the beginning of the chapter. So when a current passes through a conductor, magnetic field is produced. Magnetic field is produced around it in its perpendicular plane. In the perpendicular plane of the conductor. So the idea of around it is that suppose here is a wire and it is carrying some current. You place a compass needle on its right side, you will find a deflection, say in one direction. And if you shift it towards left, it is found to be deflected in exactly opposite direction. If you keep above the wire, the deflection is something different. If you keep below the wire, the deflection is exactly opposite to the above one. So therefore it is concluded that magnetic field is not produced only on one side or in one plane of the conductor, rather it is produced around it. Suppose the conductor is lying in the horizontal plane, magnetic field is produced in the vertical plane around it. So this was the Weierstedt's observation. So how much magnetic field can be produced, and what is the direction of this magnetic field? What is the direction of magnetic field means? This is what we quoted the example. If you place the compass on the right side, it is reflected in one direction. If you place towards left side, on the left side, it is getting deflected in opposite direction. That means the magnetic field is changing its direction. So now we will discuss how to determine the direction of the magnetic field and the amount of magnetic field produced. Right now, so this is actually magnetic effect of current. This is the beginning point. What is magnetic effect of current means? When a current passes through a conductor, magnetic field is produced. So this is magnetic effect of current. Right. Now suppose here is a conductor and we are passing current upwards like this. So around this there will be a magnetic field according to Weierstedt's observation around this. So this circle is in the horizontal plane and the wire is in the vertical plane. Okay. Now the direction of magnetic field will be given by right hand thumb rule. Direction of magnetic field is given by right hand thumb rule. Hold or imagine that you are holding a current carrying conductor in the right hand such that thumb shows the direction of current. So as current is going in the upward direction, thumb should be pointed in the upward direction. So as you are holding the conductor in the hand, the curling of the remaining fingers, the wrapping or the curling of the remaining fingers will give the direction of magnetic field around it. This is not direction actually, this is called sense, clockwise or anti-clockwise. So it is upward like this, so magnetic, you see how the four fingers are bending. So they are curling like this. So in which direction they are curling? They are curling in the anti-clockwise direction. So this is the direction of magnetic field B. So this is magnetic field line, this is magnetic field. Remember children, symbol for magnetic field is B. As we use electric field symbol as capital E, for magnetic field we use B. Okay, so a current I in the vertical plane, magnetic field B in a horizontal plane, that is in a perpendicular plane of the conductor. Okay, so this is upwards current, the direction of magnetic field is anti-clockwise. Suppose the same conductor, we allow the current to flow downwards, then the rule is same. Imagine the current carrying conductor is held in the right hand, so that thumb shows the direction of current. So current is downwards, so hold it like this. Now the curling will be like this. So this is clockwise. So magnetic field will be like this. So here in the perpendicular plane only, this will be like this. Okay, right. So this is clockwise like this. This is anti-clockwise like this. This is the direction of magnetic field B. Like electric field, magnetic field is also a vector quantity. Okay, but it is not a conservative field like electric field, because the force exerted by the magnetic field on a given charge depends on the velocity. Whereas in the electric field, the force exerted by the electric field on the charge does not depend on velocity of the charge. Whether the charge is kept at rest or it is in motion, in the electric field, it always experiences an electric force. But if you place a charge in the magnetic field at rest, it will not experience any force. Force will become zero. This charge will experience some force only when it has certain velocity. So therefore, the force, magnetic force is velocity dependent. So that is the reason why magnetic field is not conservative, it is a non-conservative. Okay, you can make a general statement that the force which depends on the velocity of the object is non-conservative. Okay, like viscosity. How do you express viscosity? F equals to 6 pi eta r into V, where V is the velocity of small spherical bob moving through a viscous fluid of viscosity eta. So these are also non-conservative. But whereas other forces, they don't depend on the velocity. Fine. So now the direction of magnetic field, the direction of B, I am writing magnetic field means B, is determined by right hand thumb rule. So right hand thumb rule. So what is the rule? This rule you have already studied in class 10th, so I am not writing it again. Hold the conductor, current carrying conductor in right hand such that thumb shows the direction of current. Then the curling of the remaining fingers will show the direction of a magnetic field. Fine. Okay. Now this is a straight conductor. For example, you have a circular conductor, a coil like. So these are only very important thing for us. So these are nothing but the electrical lines that run between the poles in the streets in front of your homes. Straight wire. The coil, Tesla coils which are used in the car engines as ignition. Okay. So this is carrying a current like this. This also can be determined, the magnetic field will be determined by right hand thumb rule. Okay. So if you hold here, it will be coming outwards, and if you hold here, it is coming like this. So for both of these sides, the magnetic field is what coming outwards. Okay. So this will be determined by, if you feel it inconvenient to hold like this, you can use other rule that is called right hand screw rule. Right hand screw rule. If you rotate a screw in anti-clockwise direction on its head, so suppose this is the screw, if I rotate it anti-clockwise direction like this, what will happen? The screw will come out. Okay, so the direction of rotation indicates the direction of flow of current, and the advancement of current outwards will show the direction of magnetic field. So now if current is going in the anti-clockwise direction, this is my sense of rotation which is in the anti-clockwise direction. So therefore, at the center, the magnetic field will be coming normally outwards. If the current is in the clockwise direction, you do like this. Sense of rotation is clockwise. So the screw will go inside. Means magnetic field will be into the plane of the board. So for clockwise current, magnetic field is into the plane of the board. For anti-clockwise, this is the direction of magnetic field B. Okay, it is denoted like this. For anti-clockwise current will produce outward magnetic field. Outward magnetic field. Same coil, it carries the current in the clockwise direction. The magnetic field will be inside. So inside will be shown with a cross, outside will be shown with a dot, because this is the symbols of arrow. When you shoot an arrow from that side of this wall, arrow will come out. So it is coming out, you can see only the tip. And if you fire the arrow from this side, arrow will go into the board, you can see the back side of the arrow. So coming out will be shown by a dot, going inside will be shown by arrow. Okay. So anti-clockwise current, magnetic field is what? Outward. Clockwise current inside B, into the plane of the board. So two rules are there. This is nothing but what we call right hand screw rule. Right hand screw rule. Both of them are one and same only. Right hand thumb rule and right hand screw rule. For straight conductor, you can use right hand thumb rule. For curved conductors, you can use right hand screw rule. So this is how to determine the direction of the magnetic field, okay, when a current I passes in a conductor. Fine. Next is how to make the calculations. Suppose at this point what is the magnetic field available? At this point what is the field available? At this point what is the field available? Here what is the field available? So as you are moving away from the current carrying conductor, how the variation of magnetic field will take place? Will it be directly proportional to the distance, inversely proportional to the distance, or square of the distance that we have to determine. Same is this one. So this is the center of the coil and this is the axis of the coil. Along the axis, how the magnetic field will change. Okay. So for these two conductors, we have two rules. For this we use Ampere circuital law. For this we use Biot-Savart's law. So these two laws will help us to calculate magnetic field due to current carrying conductor. Okay. So first one is Biot-Savart's law. So B can be calculated by number one, Biot-Savart law. These are DO of scientists. Second one is Ampere circuital law. Ampere circuital law. Biot-Savart's law is used for curved conductors generally. Curved conductors. And this will be used for straight conductors. Now as we advance into the chapter, we will discuss what are the similarities and what are the differences between electric field and magnetic field. Okay, and the sources also will be totally different. A charge can produce electric field. Okay, but this charge when it moves, then only it can produce a magnetic field. A charge at rest cannot produce a magnetic field, but a charge at rest can produce a electric field. So first we take a Biot-Savart's law. Biot-Savart's law. So it is applicable for a curved conductor. Okay, so we'll take a curved conductor here. So there is some random I have taken like this. So here this is a current I is flowing like this, like this. I consider a segment which is almost straight, whose length is dl. The length of this element between the two lines is dl. You know children, dl is such a small thing which is tending to be infinity. Okay, so when delta L tends to 0, this will be equals to dl. Okay, we have defined limit delta x tending to 0. Okay, dx by dt is nothing, delta x by delta t is nothing but what, dx by dt. So when these intervals are approaching very small, delta will be replaced by d. So dl is such an infinitesimally, the new word you are listening to, infinitesimally means very small, infinitely very large, infinitesimally very small. So dl is a very small infinitesimally element which carries a current like this. Now this dl is a vector quantity. So if I draw the direction of this vector, it will be like this. So now I name it as IDL current element. I is a scalar, but when it multiplied with dl, IDL will become a vector quantity. When a scalar is multiplied by when a vector is multiplied by a scalar, still it remains as a vector, but its magnitude will increase by scalar times. So IDL, this entire thing is not IDL. This is the direction of IDL which I have drawn. Where is my IDL? This is the ideal confinement. Due to such small element of current, according to Ayerstedt observation, there must be a magnetic field. So I consider a point here, let me call it as P, here at a distance R. Where from, sir? Shall I take from this end, shall I take from this end, or shall I take from the middle? So there is no such ambiguity of beginning, ending or intermediate points. I told you delta L when it is tending to 0, it will be considered as what dl. So dl is almost like a point. So from that point only you are drawing. But for our convenience, to understand the concepts clearly, I am exaggerating the magnitude of dl. Okay, right. Now let theta be the angle between these two. Which one? Current element and the radius vector. are a position vector. From here, if this is origin and this is point B, this is a position vector. Okay, so what is ideal? Ideal is a small current element. A small current element. Okay, now what is theta? Theta is angle between ideal vector and R vector, distance vector. Then this will create a magnetic field. Now you can use the right hand thumb rule to determine the direction of this magnetic field. So hold the current carrying conductor in such a way that thumb shows the direction of current. The current is going like this. I hold it like this. Now at point P, you see my fingers are going inside. At point P, my fingers are going inside. So therefore, this element ideal on its right side, it produces a magnetic field very, very small amount, dB. Delta B is a very small. When delta B is tending to 0, it will become what? dB. Okay, so dB is infinitesimally small magnetic field. So on what factors this depends is the magnetic field produced by this dB is directly proportional to the magnitude of current element, ideal. If I take more length of this conductor, you can expect that this will produce a larger magnetic field at point P. Okay, it is also directly proportional to sine angle between current element and the radius vector or the radial distance vector. Okay, so sine angle of radial distance vector and ideal current element. It varies inversely with the square of the distance, 1 by r square. Fine. Now, so I put all of them together. So dB is directly proportional to, as they are directly proportional, you can multiply them, ideal into sine theta, and it is inversely proportional, therefore it will come in the denominator, r square. Now to remove this proportionality, we will introduce an equality bringing a constant. So that the constant will be dB equals to some constant mu naught by 4 pi. So this 4 pi will come in order to simplify or minimize the calculations for spherical symmetries. In a spherical symmetry, you have the surface area 4 pi r square, and for volume for spherical symmetries, it is 4 pi r cube whole divided by 3. So that 4 pi and this 4 pi will be generally cancelling. And in CGS system, when this classical magnetism was discussed, there was no constant like this mu naught 4 pi. After we have adopted the modern physics concepts, that is SI system and all, this mu naught by 4 pi has been introduced. Like there we have in the electrostatics, the constant will be replaced with 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0. So here epsilon 0 is known as what? Permittivity of free space or vacuum, whereas mu naught is known as permeability. Its name is permittivity, its name is permeability. Permeability means ability of a medium to permit magnetic field lines to pass through it. So it is like a susceptibility, a tendency of any substance to get magnetized or allow the magnetic fields to pass through. Okay, so that constant is nothing but what? Mu naught by 4 pi. This 4 pi introduced in order to minimize the calculations for spherical symmetries. Okay, and as it is, the remaining things, ideal, the current element multiplied by sine angle of theta, right? Then whole divided by r square. This is known as Biot-Savart's law. In magnetism, so Biot-Savart's law we have only in magnetism. So dB equals mu naught by 4 pi ideal sine theta by r square, where mu naught by 4 pi is known as proportionality constant. Mu naught is known as permeability. Nobody will ask you define permeability, but you should know what is meant by permeability. It is the ability of a medium to permit magnetic field lines to pass through it. Okay, it has like epsilon naught, you have 8.85 into 10 power minus 12 SI system. So this mu naught also will have a value is 4 pi into 10 power minus 7. 4 pi into 10 power minus 7. What could be the units you see? Magnetic field is measured in Tesla. You might be having some idea about this in class 10th. Even if you don't have the unit, don't worry. So remember now, the magnetic field is measured in Tesla, in the name of the scientist Nikolaus Tesla. Okay, right. So SI unit of magnetic field is what? Tesla. We are trying for mu naught units, and here I is nothing but what? Ampere. Here this is meter, this is meter square. So this meter square में कट हो जाता, नीचे डिनोमिनेटर में खाली एक मीटर बच जाएगा. This will come this side. Tesla into meter divided by ampere. So Tesla into meter ampere power minus 1 is the SI unit of this one. In such case, what will happen? This mu naught by 4 pi, mu naught by 4 pi is nothing but 4 pi into 10 power minus 7 divided by 4 pi. So you will get 10 power minus 7. Okay, right. What is the unit of mu naught by 4 pi? Same unit. As mu naught having the Tesla meter ampere power minus 1, this also will have the same unit, because 4 pi does not have any unit. So what is this mu naught? Permeability of vacuum, VACUUM, vacuum or free space. Okay, right. Now, children, you are using two vectors here. One is current element vector. Current is a scalar, but when it is multiplied by a small element dl, then it will become a current element vector. And other is what? Radial vector, radial distance vector. So therefore, when you have two vectors here, the result also can be expressed in terms of what? Vector form. So here vector form of Biot-Savart's law. Biot-Savart's law. Okay, right. So here sin theta is that in the vector multiplication, you studied that A dot B equals to AB cos theta and A cross B equals to AB sin theta into n cap. So wherever there is a cross product, there will be a sine angle. So wherever there is a sine angle, there is a possibility of writing the things in the form of cross product. So cross product के लिए A cross B, you have got one vector here, A. You don't have other vector. Let us introduce that vector as R. So dB vector equals to mu naught by 4 pi into IDL vector into R vector divided by R cube. Okay, this dB will be perpendicular to both IDL as well as R. So this is into the plane. You also can write it as n cap. Or if they are in the YZ plane, this will be I cap. If they are XZ plane, this will be J cap. If they are ZX plane, this will be J cap. Like this. So perpendicular. Fine. Now, so you see whether this and this both are same or not. Write the magnitude of this one. A cross B is nothing but what? AB sin theta. AB sin theta means you will get IDL into R into sin theta divided by R cube. This R will cut here square times. You have IDL sin theta by R square, IDL sin theta by R square, mu naught by 4 pi as it is. So therefore, this is the correct format of the Biot-Savart's law. Okay? Right. What does it indicate? What does it indicate? Now, whenever you write A cross B equals to C, the cross product of two vectors is going to be a vector. This C will be perpendicular to A and C is perpendicular to B and C is perpendicular to the plane containing A and B. So therefore, when you say dB is like this, the magnetic field produced by the element is perpendicular to itself, is perpendicular to the radial vector. So now you see, we have shown the magnetic field normally into the plane of the board. Okay, IDL cross R. you just cross multiply this. This is ideal cross R. How do you do ideal cross R? Ideal vector should be crossed onto R vector. I taught you in 11th class how actually cross product is taken. A cross B means vector A should be crossed onto vector B. Similarly, ideal cross R mein vector ideal should be crossed onto vector R. It's like this. In which direction you are rotating this? Clockwise. When you do clockwise rotation, what will happen to the magnetic field? Into the plane of the board. If you rotate the screw clockwise, screw will go into the board. That is, magnetic field also will be produced. So this is. So Cork's right hand screw rule and the right hand thumb rule one and same. So right hand screw rule, where from it is brought? It is brought from what? Vector laws only. Okay. Therefore right hand thumb rule also follows the laws of vectors. So this is how you can express the magnetic field due to a curved conductor. Okay. Right. But sir, you have the conductor from here to there and you have made calculation for only this element. What about these elements? Don't they produce magnetic field? They will produce magnetic field. Then what do? Divide this entire conductor into all the identical elements like dl, like this. So each element will produce a magnetic field of this much. How much? Mu naught by 4 pi into ideal sine theta by r square. This is the magnitude of the magnetic field. Each element will produce this much. Then what do? You integrate from this end to this end. So magnetic field produced by this entire total curved wire is nothing but integral dV. If you know the limits, there will be definite integration from this limit to this limit. Then you will get integral of mu naught by 4 pi into ideal sine theta by r square. So when you have the things, then you can make the integration very simple. It appears to be very big integration, but children, you will enjoy, right, doing the integration. Finally, a very small thing needs to be integrated. All these things will remain as a constant. Right. So where do you use this Biot-Savart's law means? Biot-Savart's law is used to calculate magnetic field due to a wire. Applications. So applications of Biot-Savart's law. To calculate number one, okay, to calculate magnetic field, point number one, at the center, number two, at any point on the axial line,